Hello, ladies, and welcome to the Relaxed Powerhouse. I've been waiting for this day. Let's take a minute before we start talking to just to ground and to arrive. So, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, take a moment to settle. If you're sitting, to arrive on the chair, feel the pressure of the pressure points, your seat on the chair, or the different points of contact. And you can take 2 deep breaths at your own pace, calling your energy back into your body if it was somewhere else out there in the world. And set your intention for this call today. What energy do you want to bring into the group? What are you hoping to get out of it? And then come back. And you can center like this all the time. So my name is Barbie Kalev. I'm so happy to have you here. Some new faces, some familiar faces. Some of you are going to be watching the recording, so welcome. So let's begin. I'm not sure how long I'm going to go. I know some of you have to hop off. Some of you are going to stay. Some of you might come in later. Everything is good. I'm going to begin by asking you, and if you could put in the chat, it'll be a little bit participatory. When you think of the word powerhouse, what comes up for you? And if you could just share in the chat. Comes up. Go, go, go. Impact and agency, strength, drive, solid. Love that, right? When I looked at the dictionary definition of powerhouse, it's a noun, obviously, a person or thing of great energy, strength, and power. A person or thing of great energy, strength, and power. Now, it's kind of a neutral definition in the sense that it doesn't say what kind of energy is it? Is it just the way that it is? Is it always a thing of great energy, strength, and power? Is this energy sustainable? One of you had said in the comments, like, I am a powerhouse. I'm doing this. I'm handling this. I have this business and I'm a CEO, but I'm not feeling present. But I'm not getting to spend the time that I want with my children, for example. Or is this energy of being a powerhouse, is it forced or is it natural? When I think of a powerhouse, there are 2 images. Well, there's one image that I have right away. I saw it. I was a friend or someone that I was in a group with shared a picture of a great waterfall. And I was like, wow, that's Shakti energy. That is powerful energy. It's natural power. It's not forcing the power. And you will hear me talk a lot, I think, in this program about, because that's my current obsession. I just finished watching last night Sprint on Netflix with the track Olympic athletes. Have you seen it? Has anyone seen it? If you have not, and if you are in an excited state, too excitable of a state, I don't recommend it because it does hype you up. I actually tried watching it several years ago and I couldn't. It was too much for me. Now I'm in a place where it actually pumps me up, and there's so many lessons. I mean, I think I'm going to be incorporating it into this program so much because of the very specific examples. But the track Olympic athletes, they are powerhouses. Obviously, they're powerhouses, but they are not continuously on. In order for them to be at peak performance, they have to master rest and they have to master recovery. We, in our culture, we're not taught that. I mean, when and how do we learn how to rest in our culture? Many of us are taught that this is an go, go, go culture, as someone said when I asked for the definition of powerhouse. Power equals pressure that you always have to be on. But the promise of this program is you can be a powerhouse and you can be present, you can be relaxed, and you can be resourced, because only that is going to be sustainable. I wanted to share my story with you just a little bit, especially because we have some new faces. In the smallest kind of relevant nutshell, I grew up a little bit in South America. When my brother was 8 and I was sick, he got cancer. And then they went to the United States. My mother and him went to the United States to get treatment. I was left behind. And then with a family member, when I came and joined them in New York, of course, the attention had to go to my brother because he was the sick one. So I adapted by I quickly understood that the way for me to get attention and connection was through performance. And so I became, of course, right? I became a hyper performance. Performance for me equaled connection, equaled love, equaled validation. And and on top of that, I was bright, I was energetic, and I loved people. And so I just became I was a very driven person, but I became even more driven. And I got my PhD. I have a PhD in French literature. I've always been a super achiever. I've never not achieved, and I've enjoyed it. Now, you can share in the comments if any of this story relates with you, or you're like, okay, this sounds kind of familiar. And so when I finished my PhD and I became, I started out as an assistant professor, I discovered a company called Beachbody, and that fits so perfectly with my need for validation and the gold stars. I became a super performance, and it was a company that would reward us with trips and recognition and money. And I absolutely loved what I did. For a well, in the beginning, I felt like I was in flow state. I was absolutely in flow state. It was effortless for me, but I didn't know how to turn off. I had one button, and that button was on. It was go, 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 just go. And again, it was out of passion. What was so effortless for me, it was effortless. In the beginning, it wasn't effortless. I couldn't figure it out. But once I figured it out, I'm like, oh my gosh, I could do this all day long. This feels so good. And something that was effortless turned into nonstop efforting. I didn't know how to pause. I didn't know how to rest. I literally felt, now I understand this, I literally felt that I had my finger in an electric socket pretty much all of the time. And that means that I was overactivated. I was in overdrive, but I didn't know that. And eventually it was about, so I started that in 2007. Add to that my childhood stuff, my childhood trauma, the adverse events, and then the going, it was a recipe for disaster. Eventually in 2012, I was like, I'm exhausted. And people were like, are you going to keep going for top 10? And I was like, yeah, it was like I was on automatic, but my body was tired. Eventually, when I met my husband at the end of 2012, in 2013, my body was already breaking down and I couldn't sleep. I had started to gain weight. I was exhausted, and I called it a spiritual crisis because I'm like, I don't understand. I have everything. I mean, I was making 7 figures at the time, and I made 7 figures for 10 consecutive years starting around that time, but I was just exhausted. I'm like, is this a spiritual crisis? Is this illness? And my husband is a functional medicine practitioner. Within 2 or 3 weeks of knowing him, he had me spitting in tubes, pooping in trays, all this stuff. And I got healthy. He helped me to get healthy, but that was a band-aid because I wasn't changing my way of being. I wasn't changing that gave me goosebumps. I wasn't changing my way of relating to the world. And so I got really, really healthy again, and I looked fantastic. And by saying look fantastic, I don't mean my body. I just mean my eyes looked bright again. I was able to have energy. I was once again able to be the powerhouse that I was. And then I would crash again. What I did was I hired a Tony Robbins coach, and I thought it was a mindset problem, right? I see some smiles. Maybe this is a familiar story, right? And so I hired a Tony Robbins coach, and she was a therapist, and now she's one of my friends, and she's a somatic expert and human design practitioner, and she does all sorts of energy work because she realized mindset will only get you so far. I thought it was a mindset issue, and we talked about our goals, and I had this big goal and I achieved the goal, and that was the year. Actually, I had my timeline wrong. That was the year that I went from making $750,000 to making $1.4 million in my 2 years of working with her. And then I hit a wall again, and I got sick again. Continue until 2018, where I kept repeating that loop, and eventually my body said, no more. I crashed. I mean, and when I crashed really hard. I literally could not open up a PDF. There was something that I needed to do that day. This was the day that I said, oh my gosh, I'm really in trouble. I had to open up a PDF, and I was in this room on maybe not this computer, but on maybe this computer. And I was like, I have to open up a PDF. I can't bring myself to do it. Like, I don't know how to do it. That was how intense my brain fog was. And so this was around, I want to say 2018, 2019. I've lost sense of the timeline, and it doesn't really matter. But that's when my journey began. I was also exposed to mold. So it was really the perfect storm of so many different elements. And I have spent so much money seeing practitioners, getting all sorts of devices. And I don't know if it's good or not, my Healy device, $2,500 with frequency. It might be good. I don't know. But I spent so much money looking for solutions. I spent so much money on different kinds of therapies, whether it was devices or seeing actual therapists. And the answer was with my nervous system. It was completely fried. Not only did I need to change, of course, my behavior, I couldn't keep going and functioning in the same way, but I had to learn about regulating my nervous system. It was fried. I was fried. I couldn't function. And so I discovered somatic practices. I'm also a Vedic meditation practitioner, and that was a game changer for me. It really happened all of a sudden. Of course, it's progressive. You're not going to go from, as my husband says, zero to hero overnight, but it sort of felt that way. It was really quick. I had spent years, and if you go to my podcast, Next Level Greatness, I've always been very transparent about my journey. I was like, okay, I'm trying this, I'm trying this, I'm trying this, I'm trying this. And when I discovered how to regulate my nervous system, it was literally like all of a sudden I had access to myself. And that's it. I just got goosebumps. Life has never been the same. And today I feel healthy, I feel vibrant, and I had to relearn a new way of being that was sustainable. For a long time, I was afraid of my own power. I was afraid of burning myself out again. There was a point where, of course, I did need to heal and I did need to retreat, but I stayed in that space too long. And maybe not too long, because I had to learn. I had to literally teach myself and learn new ways of being. This is how I discovered somatics and embodiment. Everything that I had ever done was mindset work. And if you've ever read Ulysses by James Joyce, there's one of my favorite lines. Oh my gosh, right now, Mr. Dundee, no, not Mr. Dundee, I forgot his name, always lived a short, whatever his name was, always lived a short distance from his body. So he was never at home in his body, and I was never at home in my body. And so that's what I had to learn. This is what I'm bringing to you. It's the practices and some of the knowledge. This is not a clinical course. This is not, this is more of a practical course with little bits of information, because I don't want to speak for everyone, but what I imagine that you want is the actual transformation. It's the actual embodiment, and not the information. If you guys are, any of you are into human design, for some reason I attract a lot of line ones, which love the knowledge. But really what you want is the transformation. You want to feel, yeah, okay, I understand how the nervous system works, but really this is what I want to feel. I want to feel present. I want to feel relaxed. I don't want to feel like I'm always behind, even when I'm doing the thing that I'm supposed to want to be doing. This is the invitation. I want you to recall right now, if you can, a time, and feel into this. If you can recall a time that you were doing something where you felt so at ease and you were great at it, without feeling drained or tense. And maybe instead you felt energized, present, and fully in your element. And you can share it in the chat if you like. It could literally be anything. It could be a conversation. It could be when you're with someone. And if you don't know that feeling, that's okay too. It could be also, whether you're watching the recording, that you're like, I've never experienced a feeling of calm. Okay, I'm gonna put I've got magnifying glasses, you guys, so my eyes are gonna look gigantic. I think, yeah, so someone just said, I think I've always been stressed and just pushed through. See, I didn't even see that comment until now. And there's a book. I don't want you to go looking at books that I can't help myself right now to recommend it. There's a book called Addicted to Drama. And it's addicted to the feeling of stress because that's all you've ever known. And that feels like safety, right? I feel that way almost every time I am in session with clients or when I am writing, right? So, because that's mastery, you are an embodied teacher in what you do, or therapist in what you do. And I feel like that when I'm teaching. When I'm teaching, it doesn't matter if it's 1,000 people, 3,000 people, or 2 people. I feel at home. I feels like I could do it all day long. And then someone said, whenever I go to a farm, literally to be offline and touch grass. Yes, right? And so, what would it feel like to be able to do that, to bring that feeling from being in the grass, being offline to your work? Okay. And then someone wrote, it's tough to embrace that I'm addicted and wired for stress. So it's not a good or bad. And I understand that feeling. The book is actually really good. And I think by Dr. Scott Lyons, I think, addicted to drama, that sounds very judgmental. And he talks about it in the book, so and so is addicted to drama, but that's why he used it. But he realized that because of the way that he grew up, his nervous system needed that. So I don't want to get too far that way, but I will say that for me, I was wired for approval. You perform, you're a good girl, you get the gold stickers, you get the money, you get the validation, you get the approval. And when I finally crashed and burned because that wasn't sustainable for me, I had to re-examine that. And I can promise you now that I truly do not give two flying shits about like being the best and needing to be looked at as the best. I'm truly doing what I'm meant to be doing. And my identity is not tied to how much money I make. And so, oh, you may not know this actually, Ilsa, in January, my 7-figure income disappeared completely. It went to zero. When my income completely disappeared in January, it was a little bit of a shock to my nervous system for a little bit, but then I was okay. And I'm truly okay. I want to say that it's tough for you to embrace that you're addicted to wired for stress. And I would say that that would be probably most of us in some way or another, and there's absolutely no need for shame. But if you feel the shame, that's okay. It's what it is, right? We're just coming as we are. This course is going to give you the tools so that you'll be able to be more present in your life. This is something that you all, whoever filled out the forms, this is something that you said that you wanted. You're going to be able to do more without feeling like you're always pushing a boulder up the mountain. And you're going to have more access to creativity. And this is going to build your resilience. So your ability to bounce back, yeah, your ability. So resilience, a lot of times we think of resilience as the ability to bounce back. It looks like we've bounced back, but what has happened inside? And when I say resilience, I mean some life event happens, and then we bounce back, but we're truly good inside. Okay. One of you said that you're looking forward to learning about producing without the push. And then she said, oh, wait, maybe it's pushing, but with calm. And I want to say that it's actually both, right? You can actually produce, but it's not just about producing. We want you to enjoy your life. We want you to be actually present with yourself, present, whether it's your dogs, you have a spouse, or yourself. It's being present. She said, I want to learn about producing without the push. Yes, that's absolutely possible. There are periods where it just flows out of you, right? And that's what we're going after, or that's what's coming to us. And then she said, or maybe there's pushing with calm. And I want to say, yes, there are periods where you push, but you're calm. Someone said in the comments, we're all addicted to something. Approval or validation is a big one for me. Yeah, it comes with the human experience. It comes with the human experience. And social media has such a big role in making us think that other people are not, that other people don't have their stuff. I will tell you that everybody has their stuff. We all do. And I'm very actually open about it, so I don't mind. As we go through, I'd like to share my story because I want to share what is possible for you. Okay, welcome to the Relaxed Powerhouse. Let's move on to capacity. It's a word that is used a lot right now, which is a wonderful thing because people are talking about capacity. Do you guys remember a few years ago, everybody was talking about tacos, or everybody, dude, like, no, maybe it was my circle, right? I was in the fitness and wellness circle, and it was like Taco Tuesdays. Everybody's talking about tacos, or it was really popular to have stupid memes about unicorns, and everyone was talking about unicorns, right? And well, I feel like the buzzword now is capacity. And I saw this post the other day by someone who was really annoyed that so many people were talking about nervous system. And I was like, this is such a wonderful thing because it means that so many people are struggling with their capacity, right? Their ability to hold life itself, the stuff that happens. And so I want you to think about, before we define capacity, I want you to think about the words in the English language that we use, such as I'm at the end of my rope. I'm maxed out. I'm spread too thin. Those have to do with capacity, but being at your limit. Can you think of other expressions that we may use in the English language or in another language that I understand? Yes, burning the candles from both ends. I have used that one. That used to be how I felt all the time. I'm so overwhelmed. Back in 2012, if you ever asked me, by the way, you'll see that I eat my lollipop when I teach. Back in 2012, if you would ever ask me, how are you doing? My automatic answer, because that's how I felt, was I'm overwhelmed. Okay, any other expressions that we have? I've got running on fumes. I heard that yesterday from one of the Olympic athletes, actually. She was at the very end and she was like, I just feel like I'm running on coffee and fumes. But that was at the very end of the Olympics. Okay. Yes, running on fumes. Then let me know if any of these relate to you, right? Burnt out. I'm burnt out. And as I say it, notice how this feels in your body. I'm in over my head. She or it is getting on my last nerve. I'm smiling because I've literally used all of these, right? Hitting a wall. I got burning the candle at both. Okay, so spread too thin. All right, what about expressions about capacity? I'll give you one. I finally feel like I've got some breathing room. Okay, I'll give you two. I can handle it. Give me some more. I've got this. So again, I'm watching Sprint on Netflix. The Olympic athletes, every time they go out, not every single one of them, but almost all of them, I've got this. I've got this. I've got this. And they've got it. It's so good for us to spend some time pondering on the language that we use. It really is abracadabra, right? We speak it and then it becomes it. And it reflects how we actually feel. All right. I've got some breathing room. I can handle it. Plenty of bandwidth. I like that one, right? Plenty of bandwidth. I've got this covered in my stride. I never use that, but I found that in my stride. I've got room to spare. I can, I find myself doing like, I could do that easy. I could do that with my eyes closed, right? That one. And it's definitely within my wheelhouse. If I'm hiring someone for a project and they tell me that's definitely within my wheelhouse, I feel confident that they're confident and that they've got this, right? All of these expressions relate to nervous system capacity. I have a client, Denise, and I had invited her just for this call, but she just finished a huge project. She had said that she was ready. She owns a company with her husband. They own a roofing company, very, very successful. But she said she was ready to step into the next level of her power and to really use her voice more. And 2, 3 months later, doing this kind of work, she was in my mastermind, the reclamation, but doing this kind of work, she came up with the idea of throwing a big event. And she used, in a former life, she used to be an event planner. And so she was really, really busy. For the past month, she was so busy. And to the point that she didn't make some of the last sessions of the mastermind. And I told her, you don't need to worry about it. The point of a mastermind is not so that you can attend the mastermind. It's so that you can get empowered and you can get resourced so that you can go kick ass in life, right? And go and live your life. At the very last week, when it was showtime, I had sent her a message and I said, listen, I was about to teach the Relaxed Powerhouse. And I said, if you need anything, you can send me voice memos and I will send you some practices, right? Sort of helping her, but also it was going to help me help you to see what are some of the things that came up. And guess how many messages she sent me when it was showtime? Guess. Zero. Zero, because she was resourced. And when it was showtime, I get goosebumps. She was able to perform and they kicked it out of the ballpark. Not only did they have a sold out event, but they had a wait list and now they had to put on another event. And then she came in, she's taking another course with me, connected to Source, and she went in there and she posted, I was made for this. The same thing that the Olympic athletes said over and over again if you watch Sprint. And so this program, the Relaxed Powerhouse, and just in general, one of the concepts is I don't want you to fear hard work, because I did for a long time. I was literally afraid of hard work. And Peter Levine, one of the fathers of trauma therapy or somatic experience, says the traumatized person is afraid of arousal. They're afraid of activation. That used to be me. And now I'm back in the game. But what I was afraid of was the collapse, the burnout, not knowing that you can be a relaxed powerhouse. And so when Denise's time came, it was showtime. She freaking performed. She didn't need my somatic practices. Actually, she was doing some of the somatic practices that she learned. She got a little support, but she was great. And you can be great. Back to the question that was, I'm looking forward to learning more about producing without the push. And then she said, or maybe there is pushing, but with calm. It's both. It was time to perform, take action like an Olympic athlete. If you look at the Olympic athletes, we'll take track in particular, they are able to perform. They're just not going at that pace 24/7, like some of us in here and like some of us in our culture. Some of us, most of us, that's what we've learned. Okay, let me step back for a second. What is capacity? Capacity, and I could put this definition in the group. This is just a working definition. Capacity is your nervous system's ability to hold more. We can keep it really simple. More sensation, more energy, more creativity, but it's not just the good stuff. It's also more stimulation. I thought of someone that's in the group that said, okay, she just moved back to take care of her mom. That is a beautiful thing, but I can imagine, okay, I'll use my own example. My mother broke her one hip in May. And so first of all, she came to visit me in March. And our body, our nervous system holds the present, the past, and it will hold the future. So when I saw my mom, I have a wonderful relationship with her. She's 85 years old. And when I saw my mom, it was like my body remembered all the hard times and everything that we've ever been through. And my nervous system was like a little bit jacked up. Okay. Again, because of my experience in nervous system work, somatics, I was like, I know what's happening. It has nothing to do with the present. This is just old stuff that's getting activated. So I was like, wow, this is really fascinating. It's literally my whole past that's coming to the present right now and being activated with my mom. When my mom left, the day that she arrived to New York City, where she lives, she broke her hip. I went to see my mom multiple times. And the first time that I went to see my mom, my nervous system was like screaming. It was so activated. I didn't feel like I had the capacity in that moment to deal with it, but it just needed to grow its capacity. I just needed to create more space in my body to be able to hold seeing my 85-year-old mother in a rehabilitation center, in a hospital, back and traveling back. And it was a lot. It was a lot for my body. When we say, sorry, that was a long story just to get to the point that when we say that we are building our capacity, it's not only so that we can produce more, so that we can enjoy more, so that we can be more creative, which is a beautiful thing. It's also the ability to be able to be with the stressor so that you don't numb out, so that you don't collapse, and so that you don't spiral into whatever, or you don't fall into overdrive. That's what we're looking for here. We want to be able to grow our capacity. If you look, I love looking at capacity in the nervous system as a container. This is T at the bottom, and I get very passionate on these calls. Not when we do the exercises, so I get very thirsty too. But okay, so this is you. Imagine this is you. This is your body. This is your nervous system, and this glass is almost already full. You're almost at capacity. And this is when, if you're feeling like this in your life and you say, you know what, I can't take much more. Then on top of that, your dog gets sick, and then this person does that, and a client cancels a contract. And then if you don't have the capacity, I'm gonna not create a mess right now, but if what's gonna happen, look, oh my gosh, oh my God, am I gonna spill the water? Yes, I'm already spilling the water all over the place, okay? What we're doing with nervous system work is expanding our capacity. It's expanding our container so that we can hold more. And the way that we're doing that is through nervous system work. So without getting into a whole, it's 1:11. The way that we're doing it is through nervous system work, and without making this a whole like scientific explanation, the nervous system, in very simple terms, is the communication highway of the body. It's sending and receiving information and signals about safety. The way that we are building our capacity is by helping our body feel safer. When you feel safe, and again, it's not safety in your mind, because you could be like, this email is not going to attack me, and this client is not going to attack me, but your body feels stimulated and a little bit overwhelmed, you don't feel relaxed. You're working from this place of overstimulation, of overdrive, of fight and flight. But when you're safe and you feel relaxed, you have more access to creativity, you have more access to natural energy, and your brain can think clearly. Versus when you feel like you're being chased by a lion, it could be chased by an email, or the client that says this, or someone just said this little thing and it set you off, or you just have a problem in your life. That's being chased by a lion. In the most primitive terms, the only objective for you is to escape. You want to get away from the lion. And so imagine if you were living in wherever lions live, like in the jungle, in the savannah, and you're being chased. What does that mean for your body? It means you have 11 systems in the body. Your heart rate starts going faster. Blood goes to your legs so that you can run. Your jaw tightens. And you are not thinking about your next pain thing and how you can create this offer for your clients and how you'd love to have a 7-figure business, and this is how you're going to do it in the most relaxed state. No, you're tight. Your digestion has stopped. You're freaking bracing yourself. You're running. This is how you feel. And this is how a lot of you are living. This is how I used to live. And this is what's normal. And so my next point is that I wrote it and then I had to read it twice because it sounded like a tongue twister, but this is the absolute truth. What is natural for us as human beings is not what is normalized in our culture. What is natural is not what is normalized in our culture. And then what's normalized in our culture isn't what's natural for the body. Gabor Mate wrote a whole book about this too, right? The Myth of Normal. He's like, our culture, it's a great book. I was so sad when it ended, and it's like 400 pages. It's so amazing. We live in a world that glorifies being on all the time. The more you can produce, the better. The more money you can produce, the better. Rest, what is that? Constant productivity, constant performance. Every single one of you who filled out the form said you do not know how to rest. You feel guilty if you rest. You don't know what to do with yourself when you're resting. And it's because we haven't been taught. Where, when, like if you can help me remember when in our culture, or yeah, when in our culture, in Western culture, did you learn about rest? I didn't. I am South American. My parents are from South America, but I grew up mostly in the United States, and we did have siesta. And it was everyone was, oh, it really is true that if you're Latin America, people really take their time, and it's not just the stereotype like you arrive. They had to do. I'm from Ecuador, and I remember that there was this whole campaign that the government had to do to help people get there on time, because it was in the culture of like you can take your time, and the siesta thing is real. And I was like, oh, people are lazy. Back then, I don't remember how old I was, probably 20. We also have siestas in the Philippines, but I kid you not, even as a kid, I had problems resting. Yeah. And we're not going to get into it, right? But that could be for many reasons. Like one, I read an example of, and it was Gabor Mate who talked about it, of a mother, and this is not to say anything about you, but a mother who had her own stuff, and she'd wake up her baby because she was bored. So the baby learned that resting wasn't safe, that it had to perform, even when it was a baby. As an adult, this adult had a lot of problems with rest. So that's that. Okay. So what is the natural rhythm of what is natural? You're not going to find it by looking at our culture. When I looked at Sprint, the Netflix documentary, I'm like, wow, the athletes actually, they're high performers, but they have to recover. They have to rest. It's built, they've got it right. Because if they don't rest properly, if they don't recover properly, they can't be powerhouses. We may not want to be Olympic athletes and gold medalists, or you may, but if you want to be a high performance, and there was someone in here that said, you know what, I'm in this relaxed powerhouse, but she's like, I don't see myself as an overachiever. Yeah, but if you're taking care of your aging mother, you're going to need that capacity. It's a different kind of powerhouse. The natural rhythm of your stress response, right? Because this is the way we're animals in the animal kingdom. We are animals. 42% of Americans deny that, by the way, that we're animals. It's like we are. The natural stress response cycle is, I'm gonna give an example of this. That is activation. So something happens that causes you to mobilize. I see a lion, I'm gonna run, mobilization. If you die, you die. If you escape, it's time to deactivate, to come down, and then you restore your resources. Okay? So let's make this tangible. And I'll share something that happened today, which was so freaking cool. I'll share that afterwards. Let's take an example in the wild. I want you to imagine that we are in the savannah, in the jungle, and you've got impalas. They look like elks. They look like deer. I don't know if it's a type of elk or deer, but they're called impala, and they're grazing. They're just chilling. They're just grazing. And then one of them senses danger. When one senses danger, the other ones sense danger. This is built in. This is called co-regulation. So this is why when you're with people that are stressed out, you're going to probably be stressed out unless you know how to do all this work that we're going to do in here. or when you're with someone that is calm. And this is why I actually love containers like this. And this is why I actually wanted to do the call, because I wanted us to be together. Even if you're watching the replay, this is feedback that I get over and over and over again in my courses, that it's like, I don't know, it just feels like safe. And I'm like, I want you to feel that. I want you to feel the safety in my container. Back to the jungle, not the jungle, the savannah. One of the impala notices danger, the other ones notice danger. They see the leopard, they all start running. Who's gonna get caught? The slowest impala. The leopard gets the impala, gets it in the mouth. The impala feels overwhelmed and collapses. Okay, so it goes into it's called immobilization. That is, Peter Levine again says, nature's anesthesia. It like flops, it's not dead. This happens in my yard all the time with our Dobermans. They'll catch an animal, I'm like, oh my God, I killed it. It's not dead. The animal's not dead. It's just playing dead so that it increases its chances of survival, because an animal doesn't want to eat an animal that might be sick or dead. And so that's just nature's way of protecting it. So the impala collapses. But then, this is a real story. I can even post it in the group. We have the video, it's on YouTube. The leopard gets distracted, sees not a chihuahua, not a coyote, hyena. There we go. I don't know. So it sees a hyena and drops the impala. The impala begins to come back to its senses, and it literally shakes like this. This is how it removes its stress. It removes its stress. It shakes off the stress. And when it's done shaking, it goes and it runs as if nothing. And it goes back, it deactivates, it goes back into restoration, and it rests. This is the natural cycle, you guys. This is the natural cycle of life. We are supposed to be at rest. We're not supposed to always be on. We're supposed to be at rest, be in a mode of just, relaxation, kind of alert, socially engaged, relaxed. Then when the time calls for it, we take action. Like my client who was able to put together this whole event. She had the resources. She was resourced. Was she activated? Was she a little bit stressed? Yes. But her cup wasn't almost empty. Her cup before was like this. Hold on. Her cup was full. She had a lot to give to this event. Now, if you're always operating on almost empty, and then you want to be a powerhouse, and you're like, but I want a 7-figure business, but I don't love my job. I want to switch jobs, or I want to do this, or I want to be able to this, or something happens, like your dog gets sick, your spouse gets sick, you get sick, and then all of a sudden, you're trying to take action, and this is your capacity. This is your cup. You're literally running on fumes. You're literally running on empty. Many of us know one mode, and that is on. And what I wanted to share something with you. And what is possible for us, and this is, we're getting towards the last part, what is possible for us, as I've been saying, is to work from a place that is relaxed and engaged. So I'll give you an example, and then I'll show you the graphic. Yesterday, I felt one of our dogs is having a problem with her heart, and she's been coughing more. I had to deal with that. I had to deal with a lot of things yesterday. And on top of that, I've been watching the Netflix thing that has me very excited, and have been very excited to do this program, right? I've got a lot of things that I'm doing. So this morning, and then on top of that, my husband just had oral surgery and he didn't sleep well. So that's affecting my sleep. So this morning I woke up a little tired. And I'm taking this program. It's a business program where I'm having so much fun. Okay. She's doing all this energetic stuff. And I was like, oh my God, this is like somatic stuff. I could turn this, look at what I bought you guys. I'm like all the way. Look at this. Look at my crown. I was like, I am good because she calls us queens. She's like, you got to play with queen's energy. I was like, oh, I'm playing this game all the way. Right. So I'm going to leave my crown on for the rest of this. All right. I actually bought two just in case I leave one upstairs. I can have one downstairs. So doesn't it look pretty? I bought it on Amazon. It was like 15 bucks. Okay. So this morning I woke up and I was like, I'm a little tired. I'm very excited about the Relaxed Powerhouse. I have the business call that I signed up for at 10 o'clock this morning. And this class was at 12:30. And I was like, you know what? I'm a little tired. I'm actually going to not attend. Could I have shown up to the call? Yes, I could have, but I made the decision and I was like, do I have the resources to attend this call? And I said, yeah, I do. But you know what? It's a very heady class. It's a lot of marketing concepts that I really have to think and be very much in my brain. And I didn't want to use my resources because when you're learning something new, it does take more mental energy. Your brain does fatigue faster when you're learning something new or when you're endeavoring into something new. It could be a new business, it could be taking care of a parent. It's something new, unfamiliar for the nervous system, unfamiliar for just the brain. You're going to get more tired. So I made the decision to not attend the call today. Instead, I meditated and I did my somatic practices. And then I just did nothing for a little bit. When I got up, I was like, I feel like a new woman. I really feel like I've got all this power restored. I was like, what I teach works, right? What I teach works. I'm so excited to teach this to you. So this is what we're doing. So now I'm going to show you I wanted to share this chart with you without getting into the theory. You can go to the website. It's the Polyvagal Institute. I love what my friend, so it's a theory, right? The polyvagal theory. And some people say like, oh, it's not proven, it's just a theory. I love what my friend Andrea Crowder, she's a nervous system coach. She says, guys, don't be slipping into my DM telling me like that's not true. She's like, I don't give a fuck. She's like, I just want it to be useful. I care if it's useful. And so I really like that. I don't care if it's theories proven or not proven. This is my lived experience of what is possible. This is what I want to share with you. Just go ahead and take a minute to look at this little graph. So there are 3 states, according to Stephen Porges. And for simplicity purposes, we'll call it like 1, the relaxed state. Imagine the deer grazing. The mobilized state, the deer running away. No, I'm sorry, mobilized, the deer running away, and immobilized, the deer with the head down. What I'm proposing for us in the Relaxed Powerhouse is that we can be powerhouses, we can work, we can operate being in a relaxed state where our heart rate, so he would say that we're socially engaged. When you're relaxed, you can engage with others, you can talk with others. This is when you're having fun. Think of it from like a work perspective or from a life perspective. Imagine you're creating a business, you're building a business, and you're totally relaxed versus feeling like your heart's going to come out of your chest and you can't see and you're sending emails and you're like, ugh, and your jaw's tight and you're bracing yourself. The associated emotions when you're relaxed in parasympathetic mode, relaxed, engaged, curious, creative, hopeful. And then mobilized, this is my client, Denise, putting together this whole production for the event. She's mobilized, she's in action. In science, even in somatics, we always talk about fight or flight. Like you're either fighting or fighting, because evolutionarily that's the way that it was. We were running away from a lion or a bear or whatever it is, or some kind of predator. It was fight or flight, even though the word, the term like fight or flight, I don't remember the exact date, but I have it somewhere in my notes. It was somewhere in like 1900 something. I can look it up. But there's a connotation that it's a bad thing, that stress is a bad thing, and stress is not a bad thing. Too much stress is a bad thing. The Olympic athletes are able to perform at a high level, being powerhouses, as long as they have rest and recovery, they're good. My client Denise, she was able to put on this big show, be mobilized, be in sympathetic mode, get stuff done, push even, but be in a hybrid state. And look at the chart. Sometimes you are in a hybrid state. You're relaxed and mobilized. So what am I right now? I don't have any kind of monitor on me. I used to have a monitor. Right now, I will tell you honestly that I am performing. I'm not napping. Like I'm on right now. I'm not at a cafe just talking to a friend. I can feel myself. Like I'm in my zone right now. I'm doing what I love. I'm in flow state, but I know that I'm actually relaxed, but I'm also like, I'm on. My brain is sharp. After this call, I'm going to take some time to I'm going to be hyped up. I'm going to take some time to deactivate, and then I'll probably feel tired. Okay. This is normal. And this is not something that we're taught. So mobilized, you can be mobilized when you feel safe, you feel energetic, active, playful, motivated. That's where I am right now. I'm mobilized, I'm performing, I'm presenting, but I feel safe. If you guys were a hostile audience, if I didn't know what I was talking about, I would feel unsafe. I would feel stressed, I would feel anxious, and I would feel fearful. And then immobilized, when you're feeling safe, it's when you're just kind of like dreamy, meditative, blissful, on a hammock, not doing anything. And the hybrid state could be quiet moments when maybe you're just kind of like reading a book, but by yourself. It could be moments of intimacy with a baby, children, a lover, spouse, whatever. Or in a way that doesn't feel so good, it could be freeze. You literally feel like you've got all this energy. The way that freeze feels like in the body, it's like you've got the gas pedal on and the brakes on, and you're like, ooh. My question for you now is, where do you, and you're welcome to share, you're welcome not to share, where do you find yourself? And where do you find yourself in different moments of the day? Like in general, where do you find yourself in this chart? Where, and again, you don't have to answer me, where do you see room for improvement? And you could be like, when I'm working, when I'm with my spouse and I'm thinking about work, I start getting stressed. I'm just saying, I'm making stuff up. Do you believe that you can get to a different place on this chart? Do you believe that you can get to a place of being engaged, curious, creative, hopeful, present, The wonderful thing about what we're doing is that honestly, you didn't even need this science part, but I wanted to give you this context because I believe that when you understand how your body works, that it's my, I just saw myself still wearing my crown. When you understand what's going on, then you're like, okay, it just makes sense. And your body's able to cooperate. You're able to cooperate. What we're going to be doing in this program is giving you somatic practices. What we want to do is to be able to switch between states, going from action to rest, from rest to action, go in and out of the states, right? Like the impala and the leopard. You want to be able to go in and out of these states with ease instead of you wake up in the morning, you have your coffee, take care of your kids, your dogs, yourself, your spouse, whatever, and then you're on all day, and then you're looking at text messages at nighttime, and you're just like, you can't shut off. What we want is also to be able to increase our window of tolerance. Increasing our window of tolerance means that we're able just to handle more life, like more stress, more emotions, more stimulation, and more good stuff too. Because clients, you would think like that's a good stuff. If you have a business, you want more clients. But if you feel like you're at capacity, then you actually don't want, you say you want more clients, but you don't actually want more clients. This crown is heavy. And so your body's not going to allow you to receive it. What we want is to increase our window of tolerance. It gives us more space so that you can be steady, so that you can be clear, and that you can be present and not just have one on button. This program is giving you practices to help you self-regulate in precise moments of the day. This is going to help you build your capacity. We're going to be together actually for 5 weeks. I wrote 4, but it's going to be 5 weeks. Mornings, we're going to start with grounding. We're starting with the beginning. Like, how do you start your day? Do you start frazzled? How do you enter your day? The goal here isn't just productivity so you can get more done. It's presence. And I'm going to show you practices. More is not better. The nervous system loves repetition. That's how it learns. What you want is not 50 million practices. You want to do the repetition. I'll give you 2-3 practices. And so what I've decided for the Relaxed Powerhouse, instead of giving you so much, I'd rather you do these small practices so that you're not overwhelmed. If you're coming in here to this program, it might be already because your cup is full. So giving you more, I don't want to stress you out even more. Week 2, midday, so that you don't feel like a runaway train. And you don't feel like your fingers stuck in an electric socket, because that's how I lived my life for a really long time. This is about staying power and managing your dips of energy and not getting so stimulated that you're like, ah. Then week 3 is evenings and letting go. I'm smiling because one of you says that you answer text messages at 10 o'clock at night, even from clients, right? That's okay, but that you might want to change that. We'll do the practices and then you'll see. And this is the beauty, that when you do these practices, then you move differently in the world. Like, you learn how to behave differently in the world. I naturally, maybe naturally, but part of it is conditioned, like the way that I've been raised or taught or whatever. I move very fast. And because of these practices, when I'm moving in the world, I'm like, I could slow down. I don't have to go so fast. That's what you'll get from the midweek practices, evenings and letting go. And then finally, week 4, we're going to talk about rest, the deepest form of power. We're going to be talking about the Olympic athletes. Okay. The practices, they're going to be short, 5 to 10 minutes, once a day. You can repeat them as much as you want. What I want you to give yourself permission now is, you're not behind. If you do one practice every single day, the same practice, the practice that I'm going to do with you right now, if you do it every single day for the rest of the container, or almost every single day, to me, it's a victory, because it's going to change your body. It's going to change the way you feel in your body. And then you know that you have lifetime access to this program. Don't put expectations on you and be like, commit, I'm going to freaking do every single one of this practice. No, that's not the goal. What we're doing is returning your body to safety. So that is funny that you said, I wish rest was week 1, LOL. All the practices are going to give you a feeling of rest. You might feel like you're a train going at 500 miles per hour inside, even if you're not doing anything on the outside. If I tell you, I'll talk to you about rest, that won't do jack squat, nothing. These practices that we're going to do, starting now in 1 minute, they're going to help you slow the train down so that when we get to rest, it'll make sense more, and your body will actually be like, okay. I'll tell you too that it's honestly taken me like 2 years to learn how to rest. No one wants to hear that, but it's the truth. It was the hardest thing for me. And that's okay. It's okay, because we've been going hard all our lives. Go ahead and please stand up. I'm just going to move my camera so that my head is not cut off. Welcome to our first practice. This is a presence practice. If you can, do this practice standing up. We spend so much of our time sitting down and we lose access. All our energy goes up to our head and we're in our minds. This brings us back. You can do this inside the house. You can do this barefoot. You can do this wherever you like, shoes on or off, up to you. Just take a second to arrive as you're standing. And just notice your breathing. And feel the temperature. So there are 3 things that'll help you ground more and find your presence. Notice temperature, number 1. Notice the temperature on your skin, in the room. Notice movement. Maybe your body's, my body's swaying a little bit without meaning to. Notice movement. Maybe movement in your belly as it breathes, your chest. I'm not trying to rock on purpose. My body's just rocking. That's movement. And next, pressure. If you're seated by chance, then you'll feel the pressure of your seat on the chair. I'm standing, so I feel the pressure on my feet. Now bring attention to your belly. When women carry babies, doesn't matter if you have one or not, but this area, ground yourself. Feel your center. Do this in the morning before you start your day. We're going to go in 4 directions. The first direction is, imagine there's a string pulling you up, and then a string at the bottom of each foot, little anchors. Little anchors. So going in opposite directions. Your head goes up, the string being pulled up, and your feet has little anchors. And notice how you become taller. There's a sense of dignity. Can you imagine walking in the world like that? That sense of dignity, head up, anchored. And just feel how that feels and still remain in your center. How does that feel? And now the second movement or the second direction is to the side to side. So maybe you can move your body just a little bit to notice, and you can look to the side. That means you're socially engaged. You're open to connect. You're going to start your day like this. And if you want, you can extend your arms out and feel the space on the side. And again, you're grounded. So your head is being pulled up. Your feet have little anchors. You're taking up space in the world that might not feel safe for some of you. So if that doesn't feel safe, you don't have to put your arms out. But just notice that you have space. There's our sense of boundaries. The next direction is back and front. So first we'll do the back. Notice maybe your neck. You can touch your neck or body part if you wish. And sense your hips or the back, your bottom, the back of your legs. That's our history behind us. That's everything that we've ever lived through. And then come inside before you come to the front. Come inside your body. So from the back, inside your body. And then come forward and notice, bring attention to the front of you. And if you'd like, you can put one arm forward, one arm back. Looking forward to the future. Looking in the present. Putting it all together, dignity, pull the string from the top. Your feet are anchored, you are grounded. You're taking up space on the side, you're connected, you can take a look. You're back and front. And again, you're anchored from your center. And the fourth, and you can smile, I'm so serious, but you can smile. And next, you'll finish with this. Ask yourself, what do I care about? Let your body answer whatever comes out. It can be words, but let yourself just answer whatever comes out. What do I care about? Who do I care about? This answer can change. It could be your pets, it could be you, it could be a spouse, it could be a friend, it could be a parent, it could be a social cause, it could be your work, it could be your clients, it could be your business. Who and what do I care about? Ground yourself one more time. So head being pulled by a string, little anchors on the feet, side, front, and you're asking, who and what do I care about? And I want to encourage you to speak it, to say it. My neighbors must think I'm crazy. I spend a lot time outside. I don't care. I just talk. I care about this. I care about my husband. I care about my animals. I care about my clients. I care about my business. I care about my mother. Who do I want to be? And if there's a time for affirmations to declare what it is that you want, now is the time that you're present. And that concludes this practice. And when you're ready, you can, with presence, you can continue on with your day. You can start your mornings every day like this. It doesn't matter if you do it as soon as you wake up, after you've had your coffee, tea, after you've done your whatever you need to do. None of that matters. It's you doing it when it's right for you. And that is it. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for being on this call with me. I'm so excited. And I hope that you enjoyed today. Thank you. Thank you so much. I had so much fun. I'm so looking forward to the next few weeks. I welcome you to take up space, to post in the group, to share, to be kind to yourselves. This can be such a beautiful experience. And I'm really just honored that you're here. All right. Thank you, everyone.